All right, you guys. So thank you so much for taking your time out of your Tuesday evening to Zoom with Lindsay and I. We're very excited to chat with you guys. So the topic of our Zoom tonight is getting out of your own way. And I'm going to explain what that means in just a second. But first, I want to introduce Lindsay. Lindsay Nicklason is another presidential diamond. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself, how long she's been with the company, and I think you guys have heard her story and my story already, so we'll keep it short. But
hi there, I'm Lindsey Nicklason. I've been with It Works for 4 years. I'm a presidential diamond from a tiny town, Nevis, Minnesota. It's about 380 people, and I just love this business for so many reasons. I have background in marketing, communications, writing, and I really didn't think that this would ever be in my path, but God put it there, and so I'm just really grateful every day.
so I have to say this, Lindsay, because I'm obsessed with your story. Because how many people do you have in your town? 380?
380.
Okay, so when people are like, I don't know enough people, or my town's too small, I'm like, no, 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 no. Like with social media and the reach and all of that, anyone can do this. It's anyone's game. So and then you guys, my name is Jackie Sitton. I'm also a presidential diamond. I've been with the company a little over 4.5 years, and my background is actually in nursing. And just like Lindsay, this was not really the plan. This was just kind of fell into your lap. And, we always say this business, you don't find this business, it finds you when you need it the most. And so it was brought into my life by one of my very best friends, Sarah O'Connell. And so it just kind of exploded. Like I just started kind of working it, and all of a sudden here I am 4.5 years later, retired from nursing and doing this full time. So I'm very excited to chat with you guys tonight. This is something Lindsay and I kind of threw out on our leadership chat that we wanted to talk with you guys about, because I think sometimes our biggest I know our biggest roadblock in this business is ourselves. And I know that sounds kind of weird. You're like, well, no, it's because I'm scared to post, or because I don't know how to do this. Well, it all boils down to you. And so what does getting in our own way mean? It means that, I wrote a definition down here. It means that your habits, your behaviors, your feelings, or your personal problems, or whatever it might be, are stopping you from being successful. So for me personally, this is kind of dear to my heart, because I started the business in June of 2012, but I did not start working my business until May of 2013. And you guys, I literally did nothing. Like I used my account as a loyal customer, and my big roadblock was fear of failure. I just didn't really know what to do. I had never done anything like this, so I just didn't even start. So that was my roadblock. And so I'll let Lindsay tell you a little bit about what getting in your own way means to her, and why she was compelled to chat with you guys about this.
Yeah, I talk about this with my teams all the time, because I really believe in our energy, and I believe that we have, a negative committee and a positive committee sitting in our heads all the time, and our human mind unfortunately tends to go to that negative side, but we can retrain it to go to the positive almost always if we really work at it. And so I talk a lot about different ways to do that, and I follow a lot of thought leaders like Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Gabrielle Bernstein, Eckhart Tolle, Fraser Collins, and they talk a lot about how we can do just that, how we can get out of our own way, not even just in terms of business, but in anything, in our marriage, in our parenting, in our faith life, anything, just in our daily lives. So we really need to work on, telling that negative committee to sit down and shut up, and the positive committee to just be our cheering section, and make our life more beautiful. So that's what I think of when I think of getting out of your own way.
I love that. I love how you say stuff. You always say it so well. Okay, so Lindsay's going to talk to you guys. We've kind of broken this up into sections, but one big thing we always talk to you guys about is knowing your why. And Denise Walsh did something at conference that really, I thought, made me realize the importance of that why and visualizing the outcome. And so I'm going to let Lindsay tell you guys about that, because just like I said, she always knows the right way to say stuff. So I'm going to let her say this and talk with you all about knowing your why and visualization and why that's important.
You're so sweet to me. I feel like I needed that encouragement.
Oh my gosh, you're so good.
So yeah, knowing your why and visualizing outcomes just really goes along with all that I was just saying about energy fields. in our practices every day. So, and like I'm talking a lot like this today. I don't know what that's about, but I forgot about this at work shirt. It's like really soft.
I almost wore
Like,
that tonight. I literally had it on. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll just wear this comfy one here or whatever. But I'm like, I forgot I had that. That's so hilarious. You pulled that
me
up.
too. It's so cozy and flattering. I'm like, why don't I wear this more often?
I
And
know.
then I have my like super old holy in the knees pants on the bottom, but we fine. We're not gonna show that.
They're vintage. We have vintage at work shirts compared
We
to.
have a lot of vintage stuff.
That's okay.
So yes, knowing your why and visualizing your outcomes, we can all do that in different ways. So like I talked about, I do a lot of reading on personal development and thought. So like thought leaders, and knowing your why and visualizing is so important for your success. So you can do that, with dream boards. I have several dream boards in my office. I have a smaller one upstairs. You can do it, just writing out words. I have several pieces of paper just up on my fridge, one that my kids painted on and then I wrote on, and then one that I just have words on. Words are so powerful. And so I have, everything that I want for this year, everything I want for my life at this stage in my life. I write that down. Even like big broad terms, we are happy, we are successful, we are grounded, we are faithful, we are whatever, loving, anything like big, and then small, like, debt free is not small, but we are debt free. I have this new Tahoe, we're going to Thailand, like, different things in your life that you want. And then I feel like the trick is looking at those and saying them out loud and making yourself believe that they can come true. So visualizing yourself, and you may or may not be the sort that meditates, but I feel like it's really helpful for all of this too. It kind of just brings it full circle in your mind and really helps you to believe it, that you can get there. So even if you meditate for 5 or 10 minutes, and it's not like some weird thing, it's just training your brain to be still and really focus so well on your intentions, which is all that life is about, truly, is intention and energy to me. So what's your energy? What's your intention every day? And yeah, keep visualizing it.
So kind of leading off of that. So Denise Walsh, I don't know who was at conference and who wasn't, but I've always wanted to get into meditation, things like that. Lindsey does that. My best friend Caitlin does that. She's a double diamond with the business. And I think I've learned a lot from them as far as like energy and where thought goes, energy flows, that type of thing. But Denise Walsh did this kind of exercise at conference, and she said, was it standing on the top of a skyscraper and walk forward? And so we're all closing our eyes and we're visualizing, and she's like, now smell what you would smell, the feelings that you feel, the things you hear. And so she incorporated all 5 senses. And so that was kind of my first taste of how powerful visualization actually is, because I've always said I visualize, but I've never really taken that moment and just done that. So that's really powerful when it comes to your goals and your dreams and what you want, because you can say I want to go ambassador. I can say that all day long, but unless I believe it, visualize it, see it, write it down, it's probably not going to happen. And most importantly, plan as well. So, and then the other thing that Cami did a training for us, and I just wrote this down to add in, but this kind of goes into the next thing too about action and mechanics. But this business is honestly 80% mindset and psychology, 20% action and mechanics. So if you can do what Lindsey said and really focus your energy and visualize and believe truly with all of your being that you're going to do this, it will happen. You just got to put the action into it. And so that leads me into the next thing I kind of want to talk to you guys about. So getting in our own way. Again, that can be something like you think you're working. I've heard people say, I'm working so hard. I'm working 3 hours, 4 hours a day, and I'm not getting anywhere. And when I really get down to what they've been doing, they're not really working. So you got to focus on those income producing activities. And I am so guilty. Raise your hand if you're guilty of being on Facebook and you're going to send out messages and all of a sudden you have 7 tabs open and you're watching a cat video on YouTube and you don't even know how you got there. But all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, it's been an hour. I've not done anything that I said I was going to do. But I would do it all the time. I do it all the time, you guys. So be intentional. Stop your mindless scrolling. And I think what I have to do and what I've learned is And so my team knows this. I'm like, you text me if you have something, because Facebook Messenger, I'm so bad at that sometimes, you guys, because honestly, I don't turn Facebook on. Like I do a lot of my messaging on Instagram, email. I'm really belly to belly. I call people. And so when I get on Facebook, I'm like if I see something, I'm like, oh, let me click on that. Like I'll get distracted so easily. Lindsay's laughing because she knows. I'll get distracted so easily and I won't get what I want to get done. And so I have to be very intentional with my time. So power hours have been instrumental for me as far as getting stuff done. And so if you guys don't know how to do a power hour, we offer quite a few of them on Fearless Pursuit. And if you haven't done one, make sure you tune in to the next to the announcements that the leaders have been making on the page, because I know there's one coming up soon. So, and we all do them differently. There's no right way to do them, but I love Amy Spence's version. Set your timer on your phone, make your 6 list, 6 things that you want to do for your business, and make those 6 things, I think, majority should be income producing activities. But then of course we have the other stuff too, like customer retention, all sorts of things like that. So some days I have a little more than 6, but I'll try to break it up into maybe 2 separate hours during the day. But break it up into a 6 list, 10 minutes for each, and just make sure you don't move on to the next thing until you're done with that or the timer runs out. And I think that's the most important thing to take from that, because I'll start something and all of a sudden, like even today, I did it again. I was like, I'm going to write thank you notes to my loyal customers. Well, guess what? I haven't written any thank you notes to my loyal customers, because then I started doing something else. And so I still struggle with that. But make sure you're doing those income producing activities, because we all think too that if we watch trainings, like this training right now is great, you guys, but this is not an income producing activity if we're being real. Like this is learning and training and part of self-development, which is important, but this may grow your paycheck like as a side effect, but this isn't what's directly going to grow your paycheck. Does that make sense? So make sure that, you're not spending so much time on the other stuff that you're forgetting what actually makes you money, because that's really why we got in this business, right? To grow our team, our paycheck, obviously personal development as well. But and then the other thing I've tried to do with my team since last year, I think 2015, 2016, going into 2016 was kind of the year of the Zoom, and everyone's like, let's get a Zoom meeting. I'm just not a fan of over Zooming my team. And, I asked myself this question, and I know Lindsey does the same. Is this worth my team's time? Because time is money and time is precious. And I know a lot of you guys aren't doing this full time. So you have maybe that 30 minutes to do it during the day, that hour to dedicate to your business during the day. And I want to make sure that I'm not taking up that time when you could be doing income producing activities like following up. So, which leads me into the follow-up. So that is one of the most important income IPAs, call them IPAs, not talking about the beer. Is that a beer? India Pale Ale, right? My husband. I don't know beers. I'm a wine drinker. But so the IPAs, fortunes in the follow-up, 2%. This is kind of an interesting statistic that I found. So 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% are made on the second, 5% on the third, 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact, and 80% are made on the 5th to the 12th, if not more contacts. So don't be afraid to follow up, because that is how you are going to seal the deal with a lot of people. I just did it today with Honest Company. So the bundle that they try to get you to do, I have finally received my 10th email in the last 3 weeks. And guess who bundled today? Me, because repetition. Okay, you guys, so make sure you're doing it. So Lindsey's going to tell you guys a little more about those IPAs, or income producing activities, and how you need to take care of yourself and do you. So I'm going to turn this over to her.
Yeah, so with IPAs, and my brain is wandering now because we're starting a tap room within our wedding barn this summer. So I'm like, oh, all the IPAs.
That's so cool. I know, I felt so cool that I knew that was like a beverage.
Yeah, so good. So really, yeah, what it comes down to in this business is signing up distributors and loyal customers and helping them be leaders. So anything else outside of that is just kind of, cool, but not building paycheck, not building your team. So signing loyal customers and distributors is the most important. So, during our Power Hour Zooms, which I do 2 with my team weekly, usually Monday and Wednesday evenings. And, we just walk through different things, but for example, like following new people on Instagram, adding new friends on Facebook, interacting with people on Facebook, interacting with people on Instagram, messaging people from both of those. I'm tending to do more on Instagram, a little bit more on LinkedIn also. And then, yeah, like directly contacting people. Like Jackie said, I try to do more on Instagram and more email and more face-to-face. I'm not huge on Facebook, but okay, so yes, IPAs, and I feel like Jackie covered that really well. I also just try to do, usually no more than 2 hours of work a day. I still have my kids home with me most of the time, and we run a construction company and a wedding barn. And so, like that's a lot of things. So I just try to just be very intentional about my time. So I would take an hour or two a day and just work fast and furious. And then of course, as my team needs me, I'll take a few breaks during the day to answer questions, things like that. But just being very intentional. And then, so doing you. Okay, so self-care. I always come back to all the things that I've just talked about. Self-care is so necessary, and people forget about it. So like meditation, doing things you love, making mosaic and mirrors. I'm just giving examples of what I like to do. Rollerblading, working out. I mean, I take time every day to work out 30 to 60 minutes a day, like usually 5 days a week. Things that you love doing, and being good to yourself, being good to your body, like truly, like our bodies and minds are vessels, right? So the clearer we are, the clearer our minds are, the better we eat, the better we take care of ourselves, the better sleep we get. That makes everything more enjoyable, right? So then if everything's more enjoyable, then we love it more, are passionate in it. People can feel our passion and our energy through anything we do ever, even if they don't realize it, even if they're not like me, like talking about the energies, they can feel it. And if energy you have, they're going to jump on board, or at least love your energy and be loving back to you. You know what I mean? So I really try to focus on how I can make everything more enjoyable. Like I don't need everything to be fun, because I'm usually kind of a serious person, like, very focused, intentional, self-motivated. And I wake up and I challenge myself, and I ask God to challenge me, and I ask the universe to challenge me. Like, okay, what do you have for me today? How can I help people? How can I better myself? How can I be amazing? Like, I want to be a badass, So I try for that every day. So self-care. And I really think, okay, now I'm cutting into your next segment here, Jackie, but.
Go ahead. No, I just love that, because that roadblock, people don't think about I think a huge roadblock is burnout. That's a huge road. I mean, people, like I said, well, when you don't take time for yourself, like Lindsey's telling you to do, burnout happens. And that happens in the nursing field. It happens in anything. I mean, Lindsey, they run 3 businesses, you guys. So self-care is huge for them and for everybody. You are all business owners. So you should definitely be figuring out what you need to do to unwind and to make you, because the more that you take care of yourself, like Lindsey said, the more successful you're going to be. So, no, sorry, go into what I was going to say. I don't care. Like you say it. Go into that.
So not comparing too. I feel like I've talked to a lot of teammates lately who are really kind of in the comparison game. And of course that's part of humanity. Like sometimes we can't help but compare to our teammates or to our leaders or whatever. But God has a plan for us, for each of us. And the way that we use the blessings that He and the universe have given us, that's going to be giving us more of the same or a different path or more blessings. So like, are you being a good steward of what's being given to you, or are you wasting that? Are you wasting your talent? Like Mark Panicott said that at conference, and I was like floored. I was like floored all of conference this year, like just shivers. It just got me. I felt the Holy Spirit there. Like it was just incredible. But he said that. He said, are you being good stewards of what God has given you? And I could definitely think of ways that I was not being a good steward. So I'm changing that, and it's going a lot better. Anyway, the no comparing thing is huge too in self-care, because we're all on our own journey, and it's a beautiful journey.
And that's a hard thing to do. and not to not compare yourself. And I seriously blame social media for that too, because we're only seeing people's highlight reels and you're not seeing what goes on behind the scenes, you know, and we all have our own struggles and we all have our own uphill battles. So, you know, the other thing with comparisons is they're unfair. They're always unfair, actually, because you can't compare to people. You can't compare your journey to somebody else's, you know, and so, you know, your gifts, like Lindsey said, your talents, your contributions, your value are entirely unique to you and what your purpose is. And you have to figure out what that is. So you can never properly compare them to anybody else or to what their journey is or how they're doing in life. So one thing that I think I read, I thought it was an interesting point to make is this kind of goes into income producing activities too. If you everything's interrelated, but comparison does rob us of precious time. So there's 86,400 seconds in a day. And, you know, honestly, you guys, using even one of those seconds to compare yourself to somebody else or think you're not good enough or compare your accomplishments is a second too many. And I know it's easier said than done. I promise you that I am at fault for doing that. We all are. We're all human. But, you know, I've tried to find inspiration without comparison. And one of the best books I've read for that, especially in this type of a business, like this is a very heavy women-based business. And so we're each other's biggest cheerleaders, but we're also like our own worst critics too. So this book called Girl Code that I'm reading, I don't know if you guys have read it, but it's got some incredible quotes in it. And I posted some on my Instagram and Facebook, but there's one, I don't remember exactly how she says it, but basically she talks about when somebody else has success, instead of comparing yourself or thinking that you are not good enough because you haven't had that success, or worrying that there's not enough success to go around because somebody else has it, take a second, step back and congratulate that person, feel gratitude that you're in your position, and channel their energy and bring that success to yourself. And I totally butchered that quote. Like, you'll just read the book. It's so good, you guys. But truly, comparison puts the focus on the wrong person. We need to point the finger inward, not outward. We need to look at ourselves. And if you're going to compare yourself with anybody, compare yourself with you. And
Jackie, what's the book again?
Girl Code.
Girl Code.
Yeah.
Okay.
Figure out how you can be the best version of yourself. So that, you know, figure out how you can best contribute to others and those around you. Because honestly, guys, that is what's going to help you grow your business when you start focusing on others. And that includes loyal customers. When you focus on their needs and not the greed of needing to have that person sign up, when you start asking the questions. And so, you know, the best version of yourself also ties in with what Lindsey just said with self-care. And then also personal development, like we just talked about Girl Code, that book. There's some books Lindsey's going to tell you that she likes at the end of this, committing to personal development and growing a little bit each day. And I think that we oftentimes do not celebrate the little gains and wins, you guys. Like, there are so many wins in this business. Like when, let's say when I complete the steps to success, I still like celebrate like I'm the biggest badass on the planet. Like I'm like, yeah, I did it. You know, like those things never get old. When I sign a loyal customer, I still feel on top of the world because I know that I'm helping to change one person's life by offering these amazing products. Or if I sign a distributor, I know that this opportunity can change their world. And so celebrate those little things. If you promoted to executive, or even if you're a 400 box, like don't tell yourself, oh, I'm just an executive. No, you are an executive, and that's an awesome accomplishment. And that is on your way to being a ruby, an emerald, a diamond, an ambassador. So make sure that you are, trying not to compare, but like I said, if you do, compare with yourself and figure out how you can make yourself the best version of you. Okay, so we're all human. So some of us, you know, we do want to move a little bit faster with this business. We do want to move a little bit faster with what we're doing, or maybe things aren't going the way that we want them to. But I think the big thing to remember with this business is you are your solution. So you may be your problem, but you're also your solution. And so some things that, you know, if you want to change the speed with which you're moving with your business, I think one big thing that is important to remember is network. This is network marketing. So you need to grow that network. And this is kind of getting into a different side of things here, but I want to just kind of bring some solutions into what I do. Like if my business is stalling or slowing or things aren't moving as fast as they could be, this is what I do. I network. So I grow my Facebook, I grow my Instagram following, I get out and blitz, I wear stuff like this, and I run errands with this stuff on. I reach out to people. You kind of got to like talking to people to be in this business, right? Network marketing. So you got to grow your network. And so you either come into this business with a network, which we all kind of do, right? With social media, or you need to grow a network. So maybe you don't have a ton of Facebook friends, or maybe you don't get out of the house that much. You need to figure out a way to get out of the house. Like you guys, I'm going to tell you, I don't get out of the house that much. Like I work from home now. We moved to a new place. It's been 2 years ago, but I needed to find reasons to get out. So I would maybe go walk around downtown and explore. Or I started at Pure Barre 2 years ago, and now I'm obsessed with it, and I have friends there. And so figure out a hobby or something you need to do to get you out of the house if that's kind of what your challenge is. Confidence. So that's something that if I'm struggling with my business, sometimes it's a confidence issue. And the way that I gain my confidence is by doing and actually getting out there. And like I said, signing those loyal customers and talking to my distributors and getting out there and blitzing and just getting over those fears and conquering them. And easier said than done, I know. But again, 80% mindset, 20% mechanics. You have to tell yourself you're going to get over that hump, and you're just going to do it. So if a party is what scares you, rip the Band-Aid off and do it, because the confidence you'll get after that, your business will skyrocket, I promise. The other thing is surrounding yourself with like-minded people. When I'm not plugging into corporate calls, events, when I'm not talking to my sideline sisters like Lindsey and my downline, my upline, my business is not doing as well as it should. So plugging in is important. Ask questions, watch those that have been successful. So when I start maybe falling into a slump or something, I follow people that are continuing to have success. They always say it's okay to be a copycat if you copy the right cat, and that could not be more true, because follow those people that are doing well, because learn from them and tweak what they're doing to make it your own, to make it work for you. And then I think also, like Lindsey said, is finding your excitement and your passion and just working within your gifts. And if you're great at face-to-face, do parties. If you are great at Instagram, don't go try to do Facebook. Like, do your Instagram. Like, work with what you're good at. And I'm not saying don't branch out, but I'm just saying that we all have a gift. We all have a talent. And so figure out what that is and figure out what's working for you and just go for it. Miss Lindsey, do you want to talk about our next topic?
Yes, so I have so many things floating in my mind right now. I think, so I just came up with this while you were talking. So I think as you're in the business a little bit longer, and in other areas of your life too, it's really important to look back and see how far you've come. And even think about what your mindset used to be and how your actions used to match your mindset and where you were in life and then how it's changed, how it's evolved. I'm really bad at doing that because I just want to just go and just keep going, just keep seeing new roads and keep seeing more success. And I'm really bad at looking back and just feeling those feelings. Yes, I've done this. I've conquered this. I'm doing well. I'm bad at patting myself on the back. I'm yeah, you did all right. Keep going.
Same here. The worst.
I
know.
Yeah. I'm an introvert. And I remember the night that I signed up with my dear friend Danielle Mahar, I was sitting at home and I was I think I'm going to do this after I watched Danielle climb to, I think, triple diamond. Maybe presidential. No, I think triple. So 5 or 6 months in. And my husband was like, so you know what you have to do, in this business, right? It's network marketing. So you're going to need to talk to a lot of people. And I'm yeah. He's I think you can do it. I think you could, he's always been very supportive. But that, right? And I remember thinking yeah, I'll figure it out. And I'm a rock star at it. Of course I have my moments where I'm I really don't want to leave the house ever, but I think that's really important to just look back at that. Anyway, yeah, no experience in network marketing, introvert, live within the trees. I think anyone can do it if I can do it. So patting yourself on the back, that's important. Of course, we need the balance of it, but something that I was looking at online was saying, our need for instant gratification is kind of becoming a problem. Like it's kind of an epidemic. So like instant gratification in the form of like going to Facebook 80 times a day to see who commented on our post, or going to Twitter, checking Twitter for whatever. I don't have Twitter. I don't even know what it is really, but so that gives us that endorphin rush. Like it gives us that instant gratification, but like it doesn't really do that much beyond that. So like we have to channel our brains over and over again to, focus on the task at hand or the goal at hand, and then like reward ourselves with something, whether that be a pair of shoes or a run on the trail or whatever that is. But I really think that matters. And I think our society has kind of gotten away from that healthy pat on the back or reward system versus instant gratification, that kind of thing, Mm-hmm. And then helping people, like Jackie said, like helping other people and seeing the fruitfulness that comes from that for ourselves and for those other people is addictive. I mean, it's so addictive. So even like picking up the phone and calling someone that you can help, or, sending a voice message on Facebook, like I did today, crying to one of my friends. It's important to be vulnerable with people and show them what you're going through and help people in this life. Like it's what it's about. And that's such a better endorphin rush than Facebook will ever give you. There are always external things that you can't control, and we can control in a lot in our lives. We can control what we think about things and how we react. And that's really important, you guys. So, okay, what else was I talking about? Was that it? Or did we move on? Are you talking about being organized now, Jackie?
Yeah, that's the next thing, but no rush.
Okay. Yeah.
Am I on that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, one of my biggest roadblocks in the last 4.5 years has been being organized and having a system, which I pride myself on being a pretty organized person in life, but in business, I just couldn't put my finger on how to keep track of my loyal customers, how to keep track of my follow-ups, so much so that it got to the point where I just got so overwhelmed I didn't even start in 2016. And I blame, 2016 was not my best year, but I only blame myself. Like, honestly, because I kind of didn't know where to start. Like, I'm dealing a lot with cold market now, things like that. And so I just didn't really know what to do. And so I just, didn't start. And trust me, don't do that. Like, don't do that. So I want to tell you, in the last 3 months, I have finally got a system for my follow-ups and my organization as far as loyal customers and distributors go. And I'm going to share that with you guys. It's been a lot of trial and error. I know Lindsey's got some great systems too for being organized. And I think you did a video on it, didn't you? On organization, on Fearless Pursuit.
Yeah, more like life organization.
Yeah. And so mine specifically right now is just the overwhelming follow-up and how to do it, like that feeling of not knowing who to follow up with when or what's going on. And just like one mistake I made too with my loyal customers is I didn't follow up enough with them in the first probably 2 years of my business, like when I've been working it. And we all know loyal customers are the bread and butter to our business, and they make the most incredible distributors. And of course, we want to treat them well, right? And stay in contact. And so I would forget, and then I would be too embarrassed to message them because I had just forgotten to message them for the last 2 months. So I just had to find a way to get this all in check. And it's not for not for the lack of not trying. Like, I have tried everything. I swear, you guys, I'm looking right now at a little box thing with cards. I tried like cards with numbers to do it that way for loyal customers and follow-ups. I tried like a traditional binder. I tried calendar in my Mac or iCal, whatever it used to be called. I've tried a lot of things. So I finally figured, and with my husband's help, I need to live in the now. That was his words. It's 2017. Like, I need to get automated because my desk was just a gigantic mess of paper. Because I'm so old school. I want to write everything down and cross it off. So I have finally found a way that I can cross my stuff off, yet have all of my stuff talk to each other so that everything's integrated. So I'm gonna walk you guys through what I do when I sign a loyal customer. And so a lot of this applies to when I sign or when I'm doing my follow-ups, either for PDTs or PLCs. So when a new loyal customer enrolls, I have this system that I do. It has saved my sanity. It has built in the last 3 months, better relationships with my loyal customers. I've gotten referrals from it. It's been great. So first thing I do, I don't know if you have an iPhone, I add my loyal customer in my iPhone, and after their name, their last name, I put a dash and I put LC. Okay, and the reason for that is when I go and search, I type in LC. So let's say we have a BOGO deal. I type in LC, all of my LCs are going to pop up. So for one, it's a great way to organize so that you never forget who your loyal customers are. Because again, after 4.5 years, you sign a lot of people and you start to forget. So it keeps track of them that way. Plus, it's easy access, so you can do a copy and paste message when we have those BOGO deals and just go down your list so that you don't miss anybody. So that's the first thing I do. As I'm putting their name in with that dash LC, I'm putting in their contact info. So in the notes section of my phone, and again, I'm sorry, Droid users, I don't know how that works. I'm only an iPhone gal, but I'm sure you can extrapolate how that would go onto the Droid. But in the notes section, in my contacts, when I'm putting their name in and I'm putting their email address in and their phone number, I put their enrollment date. I put month 1, month 2, month 3. I write what they ordered on month 1. And then of course I'll go back and fill that in for month 2 and 3 when I do their follow-ups. And then I write in notes, welcome email sent and thank you sent. I write a handwritten thank you to all my loyal customers with my card. And then I also send a welcome email with their login information. And so it's just great because right when I send that, I can go right into their contacts, put in welcome email sent, the date. And because I'm not kidding you guys, I don't know if you're like me, but the second I do something, if it's not written down, I'll forget I did it. Maybe it's just getting older. I don't know. I don't know. If it's not written down, I will forget. So this has been pivotal for me, putting that stuff in. Okay, so after I have their contact information in and then in the notes section, it's time to set reminders. The problem I had with iPhone is when I would talk to Siri and I would set reminders, nothing transferred. I wanted my reminders to go to my calendar, which it never did on my iPhone. Now, that was annoying to me because I would sit there and tell Siri and then I'd go look and I'm like, where's my reminders? I don't want to go to 2 different places. So Google Calendar is an app you can download I don't know if you guys have Gmail. I work with Gmail. So Google Calendar is a separate app you download. It is incredible. The interface is beautiful. Everything connects. You guys look how light and bright. I don't know if you can see it, but light and bright. It's great. So Google Calendar is where I put my reminders. So once I put them in as in my contacts, I go to my Google Calendar. I click the little plus sign. Then there's 3 things you can choose on Google Calendar. You could choose goal, which is awesome, right? We're always setting goals in this business. You can choose event, or you can choose reminder. So when it's follow-ups, I'm choosing reminder and I'm putting in, so I click reminder and then it says, once I go write it in, it prompts me. It says, do you want to remind, like even flight check-in, you guys, flight check-in, email, call, you just click that, put in the name. I've already put my contact in here, so it syncs with your contacts. So I'll say email Debbie, blah, 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 and it picks up Debbie's new email address, puts it in there, writes a contact, then it says, do you want to repeat this? Of course I do. She's my loyal customer. I want to repeat it every 3 weeks so that I remember to follow up with her before her auto ship runs. So now, in the click of 30 seconds, I've made reminders for myself. It is now synced with my calendar, and I've color coded it because you'll have different calendars in your, I don't know if, like I said, if you're not familiar with Gmail, this might sound like I'm speaking a different language, so I apologize, but I hope this is helpful for some people because this seriously eluded me for a long time, how I can make everything talk to each other. So once you put that reminder in, it shows up as when you log into your Gmail, you'll have different calendars. So I have my personal calendar, which I share with Tim, my husband, so that he knows what's going on in my world. And then I have my work calendar. He doesn't need to see my loyal customer follow-ups. And then I have my reminders. And reminders is a set calendar that just automatically is there. You can't change it. So when you put those reminders in your Google Calendar, that's where that goes. So it's cool because Tim shares his calendar with me as well. So then there's check boxes on the side. So when I'm looking at my workday, I uncheck his stuff and I uncheck my personal stuff because I only want to see my work stuff. So any follow-ups that I have, I'm going to put those in as reminders, or I can put them in as an event. Maybe I just want to real quick type it in as an event, it's going to show up in green because it works colors. That's my work folder. And I can see that I need to do follow-up with so-and-so. So all of my Instagram people, all of my Facebook people, they go on a day, and it takes me no time at all to put it in my phone, and it talks to everything. And so I'm not going to all these different places, which was my problem, to do this, because when I was going to all these different places, I was just throwing papers like this and going, screw it. I can't. Like, I'm like, it's too much. I'm forgetting. It's just too much. So I think that's important. So play around with that, you guys. Of course, it's kind of stinks. I can't just talk to Siri and she'll put my reminders in. But on the flip side, it's so quick to do it in Google Calendar that it's just so much better. So everything will be laid out for you. And this can, like I said, do with follow-ups and whatever. Maybe this won't work for you, but maybe this will give you some ideas of what you guys can do. And maybe your problem is a system, because if you don't have a system, you will drown. I will tell you that, because I have felt so much more in control of my business the last 3 months now that I have a process for everybody. So like I said, when I sign a distributor, I have things I do, or when I sign a loyal customer, I have certain things I do. So figure out what works for you. And if anyone has questions about the Google Calendar stuff, I can go over that more, but just play around with it. It's totally self-explanatory. You'll be able to see how it all works out. Lindsey, do you have any organization tips or anything you want to add?
I feel like being really open to new ways is important. Like you said, I still struggle with it. Like what you said was just really genius to me. I'm like, why aren't I doing that?
Oh, my husband's like, yeah, Google Calendar. I'm like, you act like everyone knows this stuff exists. He's like, everyone does know. I'm like, oh, well, I have my cute planner that I'm like trying to write everything in and different papers. And I mean, seriously, I just didn't know. And I just needed one way to streamline it. And streamlining is what it's all about, you guys, because that is how you're not going to forget people. Like I said, to follow up with them, or I just have to do it all right away. When I see a new loyal customer pop up, this is what I do. They go in my calendar. I have the reminders. I don't even have to think about it again, because I know it's going to pop up on my calendar in 3 weeks or whenever I need to follow up with them. So
that's perfect.
Yeah, it's been really good, but it has taken some major trial and error, let me tell you.
So Jackie, what have you done? Okay, like I'm still a paper girl. Like I have my planners. I have like my loyal customer list out. Yep. I have like a distribution email list that I keep them all in, and blind carbon copy things sometimes to them. But like, how do you, when you started that a couple months ago, what did you do with all the people, the hundreds of people you already signed up?
Okay, well, that was a process, let me tell you. So what I did, and I don't know if you guys are like type A like me, but I always save the LC emails I get. And so I had them thrown into this big file folder called Loyal Customers on my Gmail. I went through and I made subfolders in my Gmail, Loyal Customers 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. And I filed all those people into separate, like where they go. So now they all have their own place. I can track them. I can go back and look. I do still, I can't give it up totally. I can't. I have my little holy grail where I have written down all the loyal customers that I've signed ever, just because I'm a freak like that. And apparently I just can't let it go. But I had to do some major overhaul, you guys. Like I had to go through my emails and figure out a way to get all of this in check, because that was a huge roadblock. That was something that finally Tim and I sat down and he's like, you need to figure out a system. Like he is the king of organization. He has to be, right? He's in residency right now. He has no time. He always finds the best and easiest way to do stuff, and he sticks to it. That's the thing. It's like when you clean your closet and you're like, I'm going to keep it clean forever. And then you just now, like I did, just throw the clothes on the floor while you're trying them on. I'm like, oh, that lasted 3 days. So like similar thing, you got to stick to it. So, I mean, I'm just going to jump into this, Lindsey, and then I'm going to go back because this kind of goes into consistency and I won't backtrack. But whatever you decide to do it daily. And you're your own boss in this business, so you have to keep yourself accountable. And I think that can be very, very difficult. And, that's why accountability partners are great. And I think like Lindsey's a great one for me. I have amazing sideline sisters in this business, amazing uplines. My personally enrolled like might have become some of my best friends, and we keep each other motivated and on track. And so if you don't have an accountability partner, find one, and don't pick the person that's going to be easy on you. Like, you don't want the person who's going to be like, oh, go to happy hour, it's okay. You don't want that. Like, you want the person who's going to say, isn't your goal to go diamond this month? Don't you need to sign 3 distributors? What are you going to do to do it? So you want the person that's going to hold you to it. So there was I can't remember who said this. I'm sure it's been said a million times, but your business is like a gym membership, like physical fitness, like when you're working out. So, the more consistent you are with your workouts and the more you commit to them, the more you're going to lose weight, the more you're going to tone, the better you're going to feel. Same thing with your business. It's not one big effort one day. It's the sum of all those small efforts that's going to make or break you with this. So you got to figure out a way to do it. So, and then I'm sorry, I kind of jumped ahead because that kind of went into the same thing, but Lindsey's going to talk a little bit about fear, because I think that's a huge roadblock. I mean, that's a big one for a lot of us. And so do you have anything to add, though, before we kind of jump onto that?
Gosh, like in the scheme of life, I feel like I'm an organized person, but now I'm like, ooh, I need to do some work here.
You are. I just was doing too many small things all at one time, and it was just getting to be too much, and it was getting to be unorganized because it was so many different places that I was trying to write everything, and it just didn't work. So
yeah, I mean, it gets, it starts getting a little more complicated when you get up into, triple diamond presidential. Mm-hmm. Yes. I do feel like we need to halt sometimes and be like, am I overthinking this? Like, am I trying to do too many things and worry about all of this stuff? Like, can I safely say I have made steps forward in my life today, in my business, in my family? Like, I have to think kind of in bigger terms like that too, or I get way too stuck in all the teeny tiniest little things. Mm-hmm. So I do, I have, like, right now, I have my list of people, which I keep updated in eSuite, obviously, and I just pull those reports, and I'm contacting people daily, posting daily, taking steps forward in my business daily. And, I'm figuring out new ways and being open to new ways of doing things like Jackie just talked about. So I'm going to start doing that, and I'm super excited. I think my husband will be too, because I also have papers everywhere. They look organized, but it's not that organized.
Mine did not. Like, I got to the point where it was causing another roadblock called anxiety when I'd look at my desk and I had papers and binders everywhere, and it just didn't work. So I'm doing much better with this streamlined system that I have.
That's good. So fear, like I was saying before, we have a negative committee and a positive committee. Our human brains tend to go to that fearful kind of dark side often. And we can switch our brains to think more on the positive and think in that conquering mindset. So fear in relationship to our business, sharing our business, sharing by blitzing, sharing the opportunity, talking to people, reaching out to people, following up with people. How do you overcome that fear? You overcome the fear by doing it over and over again. Like, people tell me this stuff all the time, and I'm like, oh, well, have you done it more than 2 times? I mean, come on. Like, we're in denial. We're heavy in denial. That's how our human brains are. So, like, don't be embarrassed about it. Everybody does it. Even leaders do it. And like Jackie, when you were talking about organization, I'm thinking of conversations that I've had with friends who are ambassador diamonds and have been for a couple of years, and they're like, they don't feel like they're organized either. So, like, they're staying excited about the business. They're passionate about it, but they still don't have systems in place. So, like, we're always working and evolving, trying to get better. But that fear in relationship to our business, I mean, I remember having some of that fear when I started, but I just decided to just go for it, So I hit diamond 3 months in, double diamond 6 months in, triple diamond at a year, and then Prez at 15 months. And, I just decided to not look back. And I have a lot of fears. Like I told you, introvert, no network marketing experience. You know what? I wanted to be home with my babies, and I wanted my family to be together more. And that just was so much more important than my little fears down here. Like, I want to conquer. And so I just started sharing it every day. I started sharing it. I started sharing my story. And I would practice. Like I practiced in front of the mirror and I practiced with friends because I'm one of those people who needs to like have the words in my brain. And I mean, I said like the same line for like a couple years, you know. Um, let's see, I've kind of moved on, but what was it originally? Hi, have you heard of It Works? All natural body contouring wraps, amazing skincare, and incredible whole food supplements, like something like that, like just like very to the point. And I would make Brian sit there and practice with me, but it helped me, obviously. Like, and I just, that's what I do. I share every day. So we really need to take that first step in pushing that fear aside and like practice it in daily life. And that kind of goes with some of the people that I will talk about a little bit with personal development. I talked a little bit in the Fearless Pursuit page one day about Mel Robbins. She has a book called The 5-Second Rule, and our brain can make like life-changing decisions in a matter of seconds, you know? So if we're just forcing ourselves to, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off, get out of bed right now. Don't wait another hour. Working out, like doing this business, blitzing. And once you keep doing that, like that's the best feeling, isn't it, Jackie? Like that adrenaline that I get from blitzing someone, I'm like, I'm so excited, you know? And then that leads to promotion, your own. And then that leads to your team's promotions. And like, it just gets crazy. And then that passion is ignited, and that's just the best. So back to that fear in relationship to anything in this business, like it is not that big a deal. It's a human fear condition, and you can get over it. So just get over it. Mm-hmm. Right, Jackie?
Yeah, it sounds easier said than done. We totally get that, but there's no like magic way to do it except doing it. Like there really isn't. There's no secret sauce. There's no formula that's going to like get you over that hump faster. It's just, you have to make a choice. Like we said, 80% mindset, 20% mechanics, that you're going to do it. And so you just have to do it. And it doesn't, fear is never going to go away. I think that's something to remember. Just because you're a presidential or ambassador diamond doesn't mean that fear doesn't exist anymore. It just comes in different forms, and it just comes in different ways. And if you're always evolving with your business and yourself, like you should be with personal development and kind of, you know, because things change with your team, with yourself, whatever it might be, that fear is going to manifest in different ways. And so you just got to figure out a way to get over it. My fear is live videos right now. Let me just tell you that. So my fear is I'm trying to get better at going on and doing them. I haven't quite talked myself into doing as many as I should have done right now, but my fear is getting better because maybe I'm not doing them necessarily so much on my personal page, but I'm doing them a lot with parties. So I do these 3 to 4 day parties. So I'm going live on there. And all of a sudden I used to prep and plan for like a half an hour before, and I'd like rock back and forth and I'm like, oh, I'm so scared. Now it's okay. Like I was like, oh, I got to run up to the room and do this quick welcome for the party when my brother and sister-in-law were here. And it was no thing. So like it gets easier, but it didn't get easier until it was repetition. So I don't know. I wish we had a better answer for you about fear, but it's what is it? Face everything and rise, or what is it? What's the other one?
The other one is about running.
Yeah, something in running. I don't know. Look at I definitely didn't nail that one. But so you guys, we talked a little about personal development. I mean, we've kind of talked about that throughout, so we're getting almost to an hour here. But we recommended a couple books to you guys. Lindsey, do you have any other books that you could recommend for them, those that are seeking out some personal development options?
Yeah, what's really helped me is any thought leaders. So I'm reading one Mel Robbins book right now. Eckhart Tolle is really good. Any Gabrielle Bernstein, I'm huge on Gabrielle Bernstein. Tony Robbins, and then there's a book. One of my friends, his name is Fraser Collins. He wrote this book on anxiety called No Mind. He lives in Scotland. So like he could talk about it all day and I'd just be like, yeah, I love your accent. Keep going.
I love that.
I need those.
So, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So one thing, this is kind of a little different. This is more the business side, but Go for No is a great book if you guys haven't read it. Layered Leadership is great. already told you, Girl Code. You Are a Badass is awesome by Jen Sincero. There's all sorts of good ones. But I do audibles because I kind of miss holding a book though. Like, I know that sounds funny, but I do audibles and I love it because it's $14.95 a month, and I get credits and they roll over. So if I forget to use them, I have a whole bunch to use. So that gets me to actually do this stuff while I'm drinking my coffee or whatever it is in the morning. But do you guys have any questions that you want to ask? Anything? You can type it in the chat. You can unmute yourself. Anybody have anything they want to bring up?
My only question is, where are you guys going to post the recording of this?
Well, that's a good question. We will put it in Fearless Pursuit. So I just have to, once this is done, I have to upload it to YouTube, and then I'll post it in there for everybody. Does anybody else have any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for hopping on. Lindsey, thank you so much for doing this with me. It was so good to see your pretty face, as always.
You too. It's fun.
Okay. Have a good night, you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.